Does feel a bit strange to over-celebrate a point, but in the grand scheme of things, that does feel like a big one. Hello everybody and welcome back to OUFC Fan View. It's Ian here once again, and it's time for another review of another Oxford United game. Today, Oxford were away at Norwich City. Shall we cast our minds back to the opening day of the season where Oxford played and beat Norwich City in what was probably our best performance of the season? It was the club as a whole still giddy with excitement and enthusiasm of being back in the Championship, and we were looking forward to the season ahead. But my goodness, that does seem like a long time ago. We knew the season was going to be tough, and it's proven to be. Oxford are going through a little bit of a dip. Well, sizable dip really. It's no wins in 7 games, 3 defeats on the spin, and this game away at Norwich looked a tricky one. Despite Norwich's inconsistencies, they're a good free scoring side generally at Carrow Road, who still harbour aspirations of getting into playoffs. So you knew Oxford were going to have to fight hard, battle hard, and probably be a bit lucky if we were going to get something from this game, and that is exactly what we got. I didn't think we'd get much out of this game at the start, so the fact we're walking away with anything after it is a huge bonus. It ended in a draw. It wasn't an away win, but it felt like bigger than a draw as I record this video. It finished Norwich City 1, Oxford United 1. And we'll go over the game like I usually do. I'll go over the team news, I'll review the game, highlighting the key incidents, and then I'll give my final thoughts for both sides at the end of the video. If you do just want to jump to the end and see the final thoughts, that's absolutely fine. You can use those timestamps that are down below, but I would always encourage you to watch the whole video. But either way, if you can hit that like button, that does help me out a heck of a lot. And if you do like the content, then consider subscribing. So let's have a look at Oxford's team news then. After 3 defeats in a row for Gary Rowett's Oxford United, there were changes from the side that had defeat against Coventry. As you can see, the tactics board on the screen here, it's got Oxford playing a 4-2-3-1 like we usually do, but it didn't play out like that. But the changes were Hide Terravest came in for Peter Kioso, a rare start for Terravest, and Alex Matos came in for Tyler Goodrum. And despite what you see on the screen, Oxford were playing more of a 5-3-2, which did mean for the first time in a long time, Oxford started a game with 2 up top in Ollie Romani and Mark Harris. Let's move on to the home side then, and Jonas Hoff Torup's Canaries started the night in 11th place, but they were only 4 points off the playoffs. That's gone down to 3 now. It has been a bit of a rebuild season though for Norwich, who have flirted with the playoffs all season, but they just keep stuttering when they get close. Injuries are certainly not helping Norfolk's finest, and in fact it's 5 changes from the side that drew 1-1 against Blackburn last time out. 2 of those changes are enforced because of injury, and you saw third choice keeper Vicente Reyes make his Norwich debut, and that's because Angus Gunn pulled a hamstring. Marcelino Nunes is another hamstring casualty, and you've got Duffy, Chrisen and Dobbin who are also ousted from the 11. Jack Stacey, Callum Doyle, Jacob Wright and Ante Krenek, probably saying that wrong, I apologise, are into the 11. Scoring goals though has not been the problem for Norwich City. They're the second highest scorers in the Championship, and with Borja Sainz and the informed Josh Sargent, this Norwich side looks a menacing one. Let's move on to the game then, and I couldn't believe it after 30 seconds because Oxford had the first chance of the game. Harris actually did well, picking the pocket of a Norwich player on the edge of the box, gave a chance to Romani. Romani hit it well, did sting the palms of Reyes, but it was a comfortable save for the young man in goal. He'll be happy that he had an early save to make to calm down any nerves. But it was a good start for Oxford. But it didn't last, because after that 30 seconds, Norwich kind of took over, and it didn't take them long to score a goal. An absolute nightmare for Oxford United, because Norwich scoring after 4 minutes, and they carved open Oxford on their right-hand side, Oxford's left. Fisher got in far too easily behind Shemi Plaheta, playing as a left wing-back, looked a bit all at sea for a lot of the game, but certainly in those early stages. Simple cross from Fisher right across goal, and Josh Sargent, middle of the goal, was there to tuck it home. His fantastic form continues, and as I said, a real nightmare start for Oxford, once again conceding an early goal. Despite the crowd roaring on the Canaries to get a second goal, the game really calmed down after that goal went in. Oxford had a little phase of possession, but then when Norwich got possession back, they didn't really go forward with any urgency, despite controlling the ball, and you still felt Oxford, who were working hard, might be able to force a mistake or get something going on the counter-attack. But then, out of absolutely nothing, 17 minutes on the board, and Oxford were level. And get this, it was Mark Harris. No, you're not hearing things. It was Mark Harris. It was a long throw into the area from Will Vaulks. It broke to Harris right in front of the goalkeeper about 2 yards out, and he spun and tucked it home for this first goal since Boxing Day. Harris looked like he was offside. I was expecting the offside flag to go up, but it actually came off Norwich defenders, two Norwich defenders actually, and bounced its way through to Harris. So good decision from the linesman, good little poach from Harris, long overdue goal. But Oxford are level. And that did seem like Oxford's best route to goal, really. 24 minutes onto the clock, Norwich were looking a little bit rattled by these long balls into the box, and Vaulks was causing problems with them. Just keep lobbing them in there, Will. We might be able to get some goals from them. But from the game point of view, nothing was really happening, really. We rolled right the way through to like 40 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes before the break. And for all Norwich's possession, they were really struggling to break Oxford down, who were working really hard and battling well and defending well in their shape. It was actually quite refreshing to see. But on 42 minutes, just before half-time, Oxford did get away with one. It was a great chance for Norwich. Sainz got on the end of a off-balance clearance by Elliot Moore, really. It wasn't really a mistake. He was just, it's just unfortunate it went to Sainz. And Sainz had a chance to play Sargent clean through. He did just that, and Sargent, Mr. America, tucked it away. But luckily for Oxford, he timed his run badly, and he was just offside, and Oxford got away with it. And we got into half-time at 1-1. Once again, disastrous start for the U's, but they bounced back well, and it's always fantastic to see Sparky score a goal, not least because I don't have to field lots of criticism for him in the comments, but that goal is so long overdue. But as expected, Norwich moved the ball around with ease, very easy on the eye, but all too often it's a little bit too slow, and Oxford, playing with 5-3-2, had plenty of men behind the ball, kept in a pretty good shape, and were able to keep Norwich relatively quiet and at bay. Fisher on the Norwich right up against Plaheta seems real danger, and I'm not sure why Norwich don't just keep giving him the ball. But Oxford do have a little bit of a threat on the break with the likes of Romani and Harris, Matos being a willing runner from deep as well. Terravesta got forward on a couple of occasions too, and we do also have Will Vaulks delapping balls into the box. So from an Oxford point of view, this will very much do. But can we dream of a winner? Well, it was Norwich who predictably started on the front foot. An early corner for the Canaries came out to Sainz on the edge of the box, but he took a wild swipe on the ball. He hasn't scored for quite a while, and maybe it was showing today as it ballooned over the bar. Once again, though, it was Fisher getting in quite easily past Plaheta. That was still a big worry for United down there. Their left, Norwich's right. But on 55 minutes, it was Norwich creating a chance down their left-hand side for the first time. Stacey does well and lofts across into the area. Brown did excellently up against Sargent to win the header, but it fell to Cernick, who got a shot away on target, but it was straight at Jammie Cumming. Just 3 minutes later, probably Oxford's best chance, maybe their only chance of the second half. For the first time in the game, Harris got some change out of Cordoba at the back. He got in behind him and was able to get into the penalty area. Harris was caught in two minds whether to shoot himself or to try and slide it across for Romani. He chose to slide it across to Romani, but Norwich cleared it, and Brannigan getting onto it on the edge of the box couldn't get a clean contact, and it was blocked by Norwich, and the chance went away. But Gary Rowett made changes shortly after the hour mark, and it was a job done for Romani and Plaheta, and they were replaced by Rodriguez and Phillips. But as the game ticked on, Oxford were sitting deeper and deeper, and Norwich were probing and starting to get more chances. On 65 minutes, an excellent block, last-ditch block by Elliot Moore, denies Sainz as he was nearly in behind, but Norwich keeping the momentum as Cernick hits a powerful drive just a minute later from the edge of the box. It was luckily straight at Jammie Cumming, but Cumming couldn't handle it and had to palm it over the bar. Like the first half, it was Norwich with plenty of possession, but Oxford defending and digging in really well. We got to 10 minutes out from time, and Rowett made more changes with Long and El Mazzuni coming on for Matos and Terravesta. Matos and Terravesta, both of them worked their socks off. You also saw Harris come off for Mills towards the end of the game as well, and once again this was Harris's best game for quite a long time. What a difference it makes when he scores a goal in a game. Norwich will be hugely frustrated after this game because they had a huge chance to win it in the 90th minute. Sainz was played in behind Sam Long on the Oxford right, the Norwich left. He was through on goal on that left-hand side. It was Sainz versus Cumming, and Cumming, like he's done so many times this season, makes a superb save with his legs and turns it behind. Oxford held on through the agony of injury time as Norwich were piling on the pressure, but Oxford stood firm, and Oxford came away with an unlikely but a very, very valuable point. And that brings me on to my final thoughts, and we'll start with the home side in Norwich City. And if there are any Norwich fans watching this, I'd be really interested to know your thoughts on this game. I know it's going to be a hugely frustrating evening for you guys. You would have expected to win this game, but just like what you did against Derby, you dominated these newly promoted sides, but you couldn't get the victory. The biggest thing is obviously that you just maybe moved the ball too slowly in either half, really. Tons of possession, tons of corners, tons of crosses into the box, but you didn't work that many clear-cut chances. I was surprised where there was a genuine weakness with Oxford, with Plaheta playing left wing back, why you just didn't keep exploiting that with Fisher, and I don't know why you didn't keep giving him the ball time after time after time. Oxford looked a little bit better when Phillips came on, but that weakness was there, but Norwich didn't really seem to exploit it. Sainz was extremely lively. I thought he was really good, and Sargent, for me, looks almost like a complete forward, really. Hold up play, excellent. Touch, excellent. Finishing, excellent. What a player. It's no wonder why he's scoring a ton of goals. Cordoba looked like an absolute rock at the back. Oxford barely got any change out of him. But this game is just going to be one of those ones where you look back at it and say that how did you not win this game? And really it's just because you couldn't prize Oxford open other than getting that first goal. And when you get a first goal early on in the game like that, I'm surprised they didn't just go on and try and really go for the jugular early and try and get a second goal, third goal, because you really kind of let Oxford back into the game straight after you scored that goal. And whereas I can tell you Oxford would have been absolutely on the ropes given our recent form, and given the fact we were playing a new formation that maybe we were a little bit unsure of for the first 15-20 minutes of the game. But yeah, it looks like it's going to end up being a frustrating season for Norwich. You've certainly got the players. Injuries, I know, are not helping you. I know you lost Gunn, Mahovo, Chrisen, Nunes, a whole bunch of tons of players, and the youngsters are coming in, stepping up, doing a decent job. But what are your thoughts on Jonas Thorup? Is he doing a good job? Has he shown enough that with a bit more investment you can build towards a good squad next season? Because I thought you played some lovely football and you moved the ball around as good as anyone in this league. It was just kind of that final third bit, really, where you just didn't play with enough intensity as opposed to some of the top sides that we've played against. From my point of view, I do feel fortunate to have come away with a point. Norwich were clearly the side in the ascendancy for the large periods of the game. But I do wish Norwich City nothing but luck for the rest of the season. Good luck with your playoff push. And as I say, leave your comments down below. And hopefully we'll see you again next season. And that brings me on to Oxford United. And I'll tell you what, I didn't have that much hope going into this game. Yes, I thought we were decent in the second half against Coventry, and I was kind of hopeful that we might get something against Hull and then against Watford in the games to come, but I wasn't too hopeful of this game today. Certainly, Oxford were outplayed, had to dig in, had to fight, had to scrap. Sometimes it's quite refreshing to see your side do that, and when you come away with a point and when you've worked so hard and scrapped so hard for it, you can be nothing but proud, really, of the work rate and the effort that the team put in. And it just shows you that everybody is still fighting and scrapping to stay in this championship. We're not just giving up. We're not on the beach. We're not resting on our laurels. We're still fighting, and that is good to see. And it's important to see as well, because there were certainly nerves, and there are still going to be nerves. It was only a point after all. And I was sceptical of the team selection when I saw it, and then when I saw the back five with Plaheta playing left wing back, and certainly the way they started the game, I thought, oh, I'm not sure about this. But I've got to say, I thought Gary Rowett got it right. I thought those three centre-backs worked really well with the dangers coming into the box in Moore, Hellick and Brown. I thought they were really well protected by Brannigan and Volk, but in particularly Alex Matos, who I thought worked his socks off, was really aggressive in that midfield as well, and really like put his threw his weight around and had a lot of energy in there, and I thought he made a big difference. I thought Teravest was pretty solid in there as well. I thought we looked weird really when we changed the wingbacks. It was strange because you'd thought Long would come on and be solid, but I thought he was quite poor. Not that he was on for very long, and I thought Phillips would really struggle, but I actually thought Phillips played quite well. Small sample size, not much to go off, but I actually thought maybe that was one of his best performances in an Oxford shirt. He seemed engaged, he seemed up for it, and he seemed willing to fight. And if that's the Matty Phillips we're going to get, then fair play. And, you know, at least he got the ball once and tried to run down the line and put a cross in. We haven't seen that from Matty Phillips either. So let's not get too sidetracked about Matt Phillips. I was also curious to see how Oxford would do against a Norwich side that are struggling with injuries. Did have a third choice goalie in goal, whether we would be able to lay a glove on the Canaries. And we didn't really. We didn't look very threatening going forward. And certainly the longer the game went on, we got deeper and deeper. There was a counter-attack chance in the first half, and Romney and Harris did work hard in the first half, despite me not thinking that Romney had a particularly great game. I thought some of his hold-up work and his touch wasn't quite there from what we've seen in recent weeks. What I didn't like, though, was playing out from the back. I thought that was really dodgy, especially in the first half. Just don't look comfortable doing it, and the players were almost like forcing themselves to do it, and they didn't look like they wanted to do it, and they didn't look like it was going to get through the thirds and get up the field. So I'm quite glad that they kind of went away from doing that. Maybe it was just an opportunity to get the ball for a few minutes, but I'm quite glad they went away from doing it. I know we don't have a hold-up player, but I just don't want to see Oxford doing what we were doing towards the end of Buckingham's tenure, where we were just giving away a lot of cheap goals from playing the ball out from the back. But this game was all about the defending, wasn't it? And I thought, considering the start that they made, once again, I thought that the defending balls into the box, I thought I never really had a worry, despite all the corners and all the crosses. I was always quite confident that one of the big three centre-halves would get on the end of it. Whether we'd get on the follow-up was another matter, but I was confident that the initial ball would be well cleared. And I wonder if that's going to be the blueprint now. I wonder if that's what we do in every away game. Because if anything, it probably means we're going to be in the game more often than not. And let's be fair, in every game we've had under Rowett, we've been in the game. We've been in every game. We haven't looked like scoring, like against Burnley, like against West Brom, but we've been in the game, and we haven't been just like out of sight, teams scoring 3, 4, 5 goals past us, and we're dead in the game, you know, early in the game. So at least we are in these football matches, and that gives you a chance of maybe nicking something and getting something like we did today, because it was a very disciplined performance all in all. Not pretty, but disciplined. But let's give a shout out to Mark Harris. Hey, he's been much maligned, a lot of criticism, even from myself, but he's always a different player when he scores a goal, isn't he? And he got his goal today, opportunistic work. I was expecting it to be offside, but it wasn't. Harris doesn't know that. He has to tuck the ball away, and exactly what he did. And fantastic to see Harris get a goal. Looks a different man when he gets a goal. All of a sudden, he's got all the confidence in the world. And I thought his pressing, his work rate, his running was pretty good today. And if that's the Mark Harris we get, then he deserves his place in the side. But all in all, happy, very happy with the point. 8 points clear of the drop zone now. If all those sides down the bottom lose, then that is a point gained over all of them as we move into 10 games to go of the season. And we've got quite a nice gap to the bottom three. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or probably today by the time you watch this video. But we can sit back, relax, and watch those teams now, knowing that we've got our game out of the way and we've got a valuable point in the bag. We've also got another day's rest over Hull when we play them on Wednesday night, and I'll be very curious to see what formation we do for that game. It's certainly a game where Hull might dominate just as much of the ball, but I would expect Oxford to create chances in that game as well. So no win in 8, but this felt like a big point. This felt like a very, very crucial point to me. I'll be interested to know your thoughts on it. Am I overreacting? Am I getting a bit too carried away? Or was there still a lot of negatives in there for you? I feel we've just got to be a bit realistic when we go away in the Championship. There's going to be a lot of games like this. Let me know your comments down below. I'll be back to do a predictions video, which will hopefully come out on Sunday or Monday. And then I will do another review of the Oxford United versus Hull City game on that Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, whenever I put the video out. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you. Have a good weekend, Oxford fans and Norwich fans. And I will see you very soon.